Hello viewers and welcome. Today we shall talk about microbial metabolism. Metabolism is a series of chemical reactions that occur in all living organisms and are directed by genes catalyzed by enzymes. They represent key of life as they play a role in the synthesis of biomolecules which act as building blocks of living organisms. Microbes are the living organisms which have cellular level of organization and small size. They undergo different types of metabolism. The metabolism can occur in their cells or outside their cells. We classify microbial metabolism on different bases, like on the basis of nature, energy exchange, occurrence, longevity, etc. On the basis of nature, microbial metabolism is grouped into three categories. One, anabolism, second, catabolism, third, amphibolism. Anabolism is a type of microbial metabolism through which small molecules are converted into large molecules. It is the metabolism through which biomolecules are synthesized. Best example is photosynthesis, through which carbon dioxide and water are converted into glucose and some other sugars. Glucose is then utilized through respiration and converted into amino acids, lipids, and all other biomolecules needed by microbes. Second type of metabolism is catabolism. It's a type of metabolism through which large molecules are broken down into small molecules. It is often said that it is a destructive metabolism. The best example of this type of metabolism is respiration, through which glucose is oxidized into carbon dioxide and water, and a number of intermediates are created. Each intermediate serves as a precursor for the synthesis of a different type of biomolecule. Third type of metabolism is amphibolism. Amphibolism is a type of metabolism through which one biomolecule is converted into the other type of biomolecule. It is partly constructive, partly destructive. For example, when a bacterial cell is starved for some time, the reserve foods are oxidized and then converted into sugars. Oxidation of reserve foods is destructive process, and synthesis of sugars is constructive process. So amphibolism is partly constructive, partly destructive. On the basis of energy exchange, metabolism has two types. One, endergonic metabolism, and the other called exergonic metabolism. Endergonic metabolism is a type of microbial metabolism in which energy absorbed is greater than that released out. Every metabolic process involves utilization of energy and release of energy. The amount of energy which is released or absorbed determines the process whether it is exergonic or endergonic. If the energy released exceeds the energy absorbed, the process is called exergonic process, and the metabolism is called exergonic metabolism. The best example of endergonic metabolism is photosynthesis, nitrogen fixation, where much energy is absorbed and less is released. And the best example of exergonic metabolism is respiration. During respiration, the energy output exceeds that of input. Little energy is used, but maximum energy is released. On the basis of occurrence, Microbial metabolism is divided into two types, one called intracellular metabolism, another called extracellular metabolism. Intracellular metabolism is a type of metabolism that occurs inside cells. Extracellular metabolism is a type of metabolism that occurs outside cells. The best example of extracellular metabolism seen in microbes is digestion. Many bacteria are saprotrophic. They show saprotrophic nutrition. They release enzymes out of their cells and digest food materials in extracellular environment. So far as intracellular metabolism is concerned, it is a type of metabolism which occurs within cells. And in this type of metabolism, chemical reactions are directed by genes, catalyzed by enzymes. It's a very complicated metabolism and includes cellular respiration, protein biosynthesis, gene expression, gene regulation, gene duplication, and all other allied metabolic processes. Microbial metabolic processes can be divided into two types. One, universal metabolic processes, another secondary metabolic processes. So far as universal metabolic processes are concerned, they include respiration. It represents key of life as it occurs in all microbes. It is the process by which foodstuffs are broken down completely or incompletely to release energy and to synthesize a number of precursors. These precursors are used for the synthesis of different metabolites. It is oxidized first through glycolysis in the absence of oxygen and converted into two molecules of pyruvic acid. Then the pyruvic acid, it is oxidized and converted into small molecules to cause release of energy in steps so that it is harvested for other metabolic processes. Glycolysis is the universal metabolic process, also known as EMP. Emden, Meyerhoff and Parnas were the three persons who discovered this. That's why it is also called Emp pathway. It is the process that occurs in protoplasm and involves oxidation of glucose through a chain reaction. Glucose is first converted into glucose 6-phosphate through the addition of phosphate from ATP. Glucose 6-phosphate is changed into its tautomer called fructose 6-phosphate. Fructose 6-phosphate adds second phosphate from another ATP and changes into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. These steps are called anabolic steps of glycolysis. Fructose 1,6-bisphosphate is then broken into two molecules of 3 carbon fragments, one called glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and the other called dihydroxyacetone phosphate. Both are tautomers of each other and serve as precursors for the biosynthesis of different biomolecules like amino acids, purines, etc. Glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is converted into 1,3-diphosphoglyceric acid through the addition of an inorganic phosphate. 1,3-diphosphoglyceric acid is converted into 3-phosphoglyceric acid through the loss of phosphate to ADP, which is phosphorylized to ATP. Then glyceric acid 3-phosphate is changed into its positional isomer, glyceric acid 2-phosphate. Glyceric acid 2-phosphate loses water and gets converted into phosphoenol pyruvic acid. Phosphoenol pyruvic acid loses phosphate to ADP, which is converted into ATP and then is converted into enol pyruvic acid. in all pyruvic acid is unstable and changes into its keto form called ketopyruvic acid, which is the end product of glycolysis. If we summarize the steps of glycolysis, we find there is use of 2 ATPs and then release of 4 ATPs. This causes net release of 2 ATPs. Besides, there is formation of 2 NADH molecules in the step when glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate is converted into 1,3-diphosphoglyceric acid. In nutshell, we can say the energetics of glycolysis yields a net of 6 ATPs, which are used for other metabolic processes. Another metabolic process that occurs in microbes is photosynthesis. It is seen only in photoautotrophs, the organisms which are capable of fixing carbon dioxide and converting it into glucose. Green sulfur bacteria, purple sulfur bacteria are very common bacteria which represent photoautotrophs. In these bacteria, pigments trap light and convert it into potential chemical energy. The energy is stored in the chemical bonds of biomolecules. Same energy is then utilized in the conversion of carbon dioxide into glucose and some other sugars, although through a chain of reactions. Microbial photosynthesis is of 2 types: oxygenic photosynthesis and anoxygenic photosynthesis. Oxygenic photosynthesis is a photosynthesis where oxygen is released as byproduct. Anoxygenic photosynthesis is a photosynthesis where oxygen is not released. Oxygenic photosynthesis is shown by cyanobacteria, whereas anoxygenic photosynthesis is shown by eubacteria like green sulfur bacteria and purple sulfur bacteria. Green sulfur bacteria and purple sulfur bacteria use hydrogen sulfide and precipitate sulfur instead of releasing oxygen. The other metabolic pathways that occur in microbes are nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation is a process shown by Rhizobium, Azotobacter, Azospirillum and many cyanobacteria. It involves use of a gene battery called NIF gene battery. This gene battery directs synthesis of some enzymes like nitrogenase, which fix atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into ammonium ions. The ions are then converted into nitrates, and nitrates play important role as sources of nitrogen for the synthesis of biomolecules like amino acids, pigments, etc. Other metabolic processes include gene expression. DNA forms messenger RNA. Messenger RNA forms protein. Proteins behave as enzymes. Enzymes catalyze chemical reactions, and the chemical reactions help in expression of characters. All characters are expressed through protein synthesis, which involves conversion of 4-letter information of DNA into 20-letter information of proteins. DNA stores its hereditary information in the arrangement of its nitrogen bases, namely adenine, guanine, thymine and cytosine. These bases on arrangement give rise to code words called codons like TAC, GGG. Codons on further association form sentences called cistrons. Cistrons store information for polymerization of amino acids. Amino acids are polymerized with the help of enzymes on ribosomes and under the direction of messenger RNA. They store 20-letter information as 20 principal amino acids represent building blocks of proteins. They decrease activation energy of substrate molecules, which results in the conversion of substrates into products. And products play a role as building blocks or as informational molecules. Other metabolic processes which we see in the cells of microbes occur during cell division. Cell division is the process through which one cell forms two daughter cells. Microbes divide usually by mitosis if they are prokaryotes or by mitosis if they are eukaryotes. Some microbes are mesokaryotes. They divide by dinomitosis, and all the types of cell division are forced or backed by metabolic processes, which provides the basic biomolecules like carbohydrates, proteins, lipids and nucleic acids. Microbial metabolism makes microbes alive. If microbes are alive, they help in the production of foods for other organisms. Most microbes you will find occurring in aquatic habitats. Aquatic habitats play a role in harvesting solar energy. 80% of total photosynthesis on the earth occurs in oceans with the help of algae. So algae represent a major living organisms which help in primary productivity. Their food, their cells are utilized by other organisms like fish, whales, dolphins and other organisms, and in this way the biomolecules pass from algae into other organisms, that is from producers to consumers, consumers to decomposers. This is governed by laws and involves loss of energy at each step. Microbial metabolism has a great influence on the sustenance of life on the earth, as microbes provide raw material for the evolution of other organisms on the earth. It is believed that life has originated on the earth in oceans from single cell. The cell called progenote has undergone diversification where metabolic diversity has occurred, and it has led to the formation of different types of microbes like autotrophic microbes, heterotrophic microbes, saprotrophic microbes, parasitic microbes, each showing a different type of metabolism. Microbes have then undergone modifications with the passage of time and have given rise to multicellular organisms. Multicellular organisms have diversified metabolic processes and have led to evolution of organisms having tissues, and the organisms having tissues have further evolved through the diversification of metabolic processes and have given rise to complex organisms having organ systems and organs. These organisms have further evolved and have given rise to the organisms having well organized organ systems. Plants and animals are the organisms having organ system level of organization. Plants have root system and shoot system, and each system performs different activities and shows different metabolic processes. In the same way, animals, they show 11 organ systems like integumentary systems, digestive system, circulatory system, respiratory system, endocrine system, nervous system, skeletal system, muscular system, reproductive system, etc. These organ systems play a role in different metabolic processes and different physiological processes. To conclude, metabolic process serves as key for physiological process, and physiological process serves as key for other processes like growth, reproduction, and the development and evolution. Thank you.